All right, welcome to the first episode of Dear Guitar Industry. Well, technically the second episode because we had a sort of preview episode that we just launched recently, talking about what we're planning on doing with this platform. And some of this is kind of early tests, and these will continue to morph, continue to evolve. Today's topic, and I'm going to look down at some notes here because I'm very, very prepared. For those watching on YouTube, you can see me looking down. If you're just listening to the podcast, just imagine that I am not memorizing this and I'm trying to read off of an iPad screen below me. So that's what's happening. We're going to talk today about this subject of solving the puzzle. So this is something that I use this analogy all the time, is that I'm trying to, as a business owner, I'm trying to solve a puzzle. I'm trying to put all these things together and hope that there's enough pieces of the puzzle to kind of keep this train rolling. And I use that like train rolling analogy a lot because I think about there's momentum and there's all these things that happen in business, and I'm trying to figure out how we fit in the guitar industry. I'm trying to figure out what kind of marketing do we do? What kind of marketing do we not do? Is there things that have changed? And I'll get into some of those subjects a little bit more deeper as we go along. But this is the giant puzzle that we're always trying to solve. My joke is it's a puzzle that is incomplete. It's a puzzle that's missing a few pieces. You have to do your best to kind of put it together. And there's not a picture. You on a puzzle, you look at the lid and you can see what you're supposed to do. This is a puzzle where you don't actually have a picture on the lid, and you're trying to figure this out as a business owner. So I'm talking to you strictly as a business owner, but maybe it's a project that you're involved in. Maybe it's something that you're really excited about and you want to get into in the future. Maybe it's your own business, maybe it's something else. There's always this puzzle to fit together. Now sometimes it's very simple. There might be a very clear direction. You're like, well, I've got to start my business, but maybe I need to get my business license first, and that's a very clear step that you need to take. Sometimes, in our case, it's things like, okay, well, how do we pay rent? And in this case, there was a surprise charge from the landlord, so we had equivalent to double rent that's coming up, and that wasn't planned on. It was something that was a disorganizational thing. Well, that's a long word. It was something where they weren't organized and they did not collect certain fees for the complex, and then they're like, oh, by the way, now we're going to collect them, and here we are 7 years later. It just kind of drops on you. So that's a puzzle piece, right? It's something that I'm trying to figure out. Okay, well, how do we afford that when it maybe wasn't in the budget coming forward to next month? And there's all these funny little layers to putting this and solving this puzzle. Sometimes it's a mess. I mean, honestly, small business is a mess. If you know anyone that's been in small business, if you've gone into a small business and you're like, man, they seem really jumbled or disorganized, that's what's going on through your average small business owner's mind is maybe they just got, like in my case, they just got a couple, I need your help now phone calls over the weekend. Here we are Monday, and trying to think of, okay, when do I fit those phone calls in with the other emails, with the plan for the week, with the production for the week, with all these things that we're trying to get to our team. I have to have some phone conversations with some salespeople later. I have to figure out, okay, do I send a dealer announcement this week? Do I wait till next week? There's all these things that you're trying to put yourself together and you're trying to organize it. And here we are Monday morning, right? As I'm recording this, it's Monday, and everyone jokes about Mondays, and sometimes they are absolutely insane, and you kind of can tend to freeze, and you're thinking, I've got to get this thing off the ground. I've got to go. I've got to have the motivation. So my encouragement would be to take small steps in whatever direction you're going to do. Take small steps. As long as you're going forward, try to be okay with that fact that you are going forward. That's good enough as long as you're going forward. You don't want to go backwards, and you don't really want to stay in a stagnant position. You want to be going forward and making those progress. You're going to have weeks where you feel like you're just going miles forward. You're going to have other weeks where you feel like I don't even know if I'm moving at all. And that's going to be normal. And the key is just to not get discouraged during those weeks where you're not moving forward at the pace that you like to. And one thing in our case is the theme this year is repair and grow. So we're trying to get back to our roots as a business. We're trying to focus on the things that we want to do. And then we're trying to grow forward. We're trying to grow smartly. We're trying to grow with the things that we're passionate about. And again, some of these are touching on subjects I'll get into more deeply later on. But my encouragement is to continue to repair what you're doing in our case financially kind of getting more stabilized and then moving forward and trying to pursue the things that we're excited about. If we're passionate about it, that's going to show in the product, and hopefully that shows in the inspiration that our products provide customers. So that's my thoughts on solving the puzzle. Again, there's different thoughts on different weeks in terms of, the puzzle may be more complicated some weeks, maybe more smooth, but continue to drive and continue to focus on solving that puzzle, whatever it is. Even if it's just, how do I be a better dad? How do I, be a better husband in my marriage? Whatever it might be. I mean, this can stretch into a lot of different things. It's how do you constantly make those improvements? So if you're on YouTube, I'd love to hear some comments below. What are things that you're working on right now? What are things that you're trying to strive to get better at? Maybe that's just being a better guitar player. Maybe it's more disciplined practice time. We could all use that for sure. But whatever it is, I'd love to know. And thank you guys for checking out the first episode of Dear Guitar Industry. So this is a personalized look at what we think about the guitar industry, and some of it is looking straight at ourselves and saying, this is an area where here's how I navigate it, or here's where I struggle, here's where I'm frustrated, and we'll get diving into more of these episodes in the future. Thank you guys for checking us out. You can check us out at porterpickups.com, and we will put the link to our website below in the descriptions. Thanks for watching.